Hey everyone, this is Kim O'Neill from the Every Day's a New Day podcast and live show, and you're listening to the Going North podcast with the hilarious Dom Brightman. Be sure to subscribe to his show so you don't miss any episodes, and remember, every day is always a new day.
And today on the Highlight Reel Builder for authors known as GMP, the Great, Glorious, and Glamorous, it's the Going North podcast for another panel, y'all, another magical panel. Thanks to Miss Sunshine from the West Side, Miss Linda Sunshine West, with one of her co-author conglomerates, y'all. This one is a return of the fearless entrepreneurs, y'all. I'm telling you. That's right. These entrepreneurs know how to start a business, grow a business, and make sure it sustains that success. And it all starts from seeing a giant rhino and they charge forward regardless. That's right. No fear, y'all. No fear involved at all because they are fearless. And we're going to go around the magical Zoom cubes now, have them introduce themselves, starting with this fabulous lady in the red on my left. Kym, go ahead and introduce yourself to the listeners.
Hi, I'm Kym Glass. I am from Texas. And I'm a TEDx award-winning speaker, a soft skills consultant, and a 5-time best-selling author. And I am all about soft skills and helping you on your journey as an entrepreneur to overcome those irrational fears that are holding you back.
Woo-hoo. That's what I'm talking about. Blankets ahoy, soft skills, y'all. That's right. That's right indeed. Although they're probably a lot better than hard skills a lot of times nowadays. That's what I'm talking about. Next, we got Mr. David, who's up next. Tell him about yourself and what you do, my friend.
All right, my name is David Smith. I live in Oceanside, California, that beautiful bubble between LA and San Diego. I am the host of the From Debt to Wealth to Impact podcast. It's relatively new. And obviously, first-time best-selling author with the Fearless Entrepreneurs. And that has just been such an awesome feeling. It's just kind of, it's really been an amazing thing. And what I do, besides the podcast and the book, is I am a life coach for entrepreneurs. I help people. I really believe that people cannot grow their businesses beyond where they are personally. And so with all my entrepreneurship background, I can help with business strategy. But what I often find was true in my own life, it's true for other entrepreneurs, there's something that they need on the life coach level more than the business coach level. So that's what I do, is I life coach for entrepreneurs.
Woohoo! That's what I'm talking about right there. And it's really powerful what you said there about how business owners can only grow as far as they grow, or at least their businesses can grow as far as the person's growing indeed. Because so darn true. It's like, hey, you got that limited thinking, well, it'll limit everything else around you. So,
yeah,
man, it's helping them break that glass. That's what I'm talking about indeed. That's right. No pun intended with kind Kym in the top left corner, though. But speaking of K's, we got last but not least, Miss Kohila. Feel free to fill in some gaps for the folks listening.
Thank you for having me. My name is Kohila Sivas, and I live in Vancouver, Canada. And I am an ex-teacher and a tutor. I have created my own coaching methodology, which is called Math Coats. I have been helping students and parents over 22 years. So now, for the past 6 years, me and my husband have been helping teachers and tutors to become certified and trained using our methods, Math Coats method. So that's what I've been up to all these years.
Wow. Okay. All righty. That's right. Found the youth in this one, 22 years. So she's been teaching since she was 3. That's what I'm talking about, y'all. That's right, indeed. That's what I'm talking about, indeed. Helping them with the math. Helping them with that math, indeed, them numbers. My goodness. Well, congratulations, all 3 of you. That's right. #1 best-selling author. First time for David. 5-time for Kym. That's right. They go healer with the math. So my goodness. So with Linda bringing you all together was probably, I'd say, what's probably been the biggest thing you've gained thus far outside of the book being a #1 bestseller so far? Because it's only the beginning, because the book just freaking launched.
I think for me, it's the biggest thing that's happened is the alignment, because I think as a teacher, you keep your life separate from professional, and then you have personal. But I was able to bring both of them together in this book and share and be the authentic person I am, and that just made a big difference for me. So I'm very glad I did it.
I think for me, the biggest takeaway, and it dawned on me the first time I did an interview on launch day for the book, was that Hill said in Think and Grow Rich, thoughts are things. Others have said it as well. But it was just such a reality that thoughts are things. I've probably been around the project maybe longer than anybody else. I was one of the first ones to come on board. But almost 3 years ago, Linda had the thought for this book. And then all of the chapters in this book are the thoughts of the author. And it truly is, to hold that book. I ordered a copy. I've got it. I meant to get it. It's over there. But I mean, just to hold that in your hand and to see that #1 show up on Amazon, that it started with all of our thoughts. Thoughts are things. And to just see that play out in such a dramatic fashion, it's literally been life-changing.
And I would say for me, Dom, I'm a community builder and all about networking and supporting those that you meet along the way. So I especially love the collaboration book model, because just in this one book, we've met over 25 people that have so graciously shared their vulnerable side, their very authentic side, and having that community together to work on the project together the last several weeks and months, and then be on the launch together. It's just been so great to meet so many people that maybe otherwise we would not have met, but yet our connection was accelerated through this project.
So much power right there from all three, especially with Kym dropping that accelerated connection, Joe. I'm telling you, that's right. What makes it even better about this book, Tyler, is the fact that Kym's got this awesome clone of herself behind her. It was actually a photo. Who am I kidding? It's a magical photo, and it's got this wonderful book called Unshakeable Courage. So it's like there's entrepreneurs and unshakable courage. So my goodness. So special question for Kym. What helps you to find your unshakable courage? Because a lot of folks probably going to realize, man, I need some courage to start this business, or even courage just to get to my next level, whatever that is.
So my personal story is I was born and raised in a religious cult, and I escaped after 35 years to protect my daughter. And through that journey and that experience, I gained a lot of experience in overcoming that and road mapping it. So that is the premise of Unshakable Courage. And I didn't realize till I was out of there how I had so compartmentalized everything to where that stayed in its place. But my career, over 20 years in the telecom industry, was something that I could self-lead myself. I started out as a $10 an hour secretary. I broke through the glass ceiling in that industry. And so a lot of those lessons and projects and that experience, then as I became an entrepreneur many years later, that roadmap has been so pertinent to the entrepreneurial life. I often say entrepreneurship is not linear. It's more like on a roller coaster. So I don't know about you, but if I'm on this roller coaster, I'm in the front row and I have my hands up, because that is exactly what it takes to be an entrepreneur. And so I share all about courage. I'm just so passionate about that, because so many people hold themselves back from those irrational fears. And most of the time, they're not even a true fear. So helping people to break free from that is what I'm passionate about.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm talking about indeed. My goodness. Glad you got out the cult. Sometimes that doesn't always pan out so well, because some cults can be a little deadly from the outside looking in. So definitely glad you escaped and found your fabulosity and helped out your daughter to escape too. So my goodness, that even leads to the follow-up question. So what can we expect from this wonderful book with your stories included. Feel free to let's pass this on to David or Kohila.
The biggest thing is that, for me, there was a time that I decided to end my life, and then I survived that, and then knowing that there's always a way to solve your problems, and just making that decision too fast wasn't it. And the way I learned to overcome from that experience and make my life, who I am today, is from solving math problems. I found it when I started solving and spending time with it, that there is a solution. I just didn't spend that time to look for it, right? So it became really a therapeutic for me. And that's the experience I share with my students, to turn them around. Even if they're saying I'm dumb, I can't do this, to just turn their voices, internal voices out, down, and just delete them forever, right? So these are things we tell ourselves. And I'm very passionate about sharing that with everyone. That's what I've been doing it for 22 years. And I hope to do it rest of my life. Anyone I can. And this book has made it possible.
Sweet. I'm glad you're still alive too. It always a little disheartening when folks get to the point where they become suicidal. It's definitely heartbreaking, especially for those who sadly succeeded in those attempts. Glad that wasn't the case for you. Glad you're still here, and anybody who's maybe dealing with suicidal thoughts, remember that you matter, because it's definitely rough out here, but hey, you'll definitely become better for it. So definitely glad you're still here.
Everything is solvable. That's the chapter of my book. So I believe in that.
Ooh, there we go. Quick funny question that just popped in my head. So do you ever write metaphorical ancient hieroglyphs on walls in your home out of curiosity for your math problems?
I don't write it on the walls, but I
Okay,
do a
good.
lot of books and sketchbooks. I would get in trouble if I drew it on the wall. But it is therapeutic for me, so I could like escape into the world of math and find comfort. Yes.
Oh, I just had to get that stupid question out of my head. How about you, David?
Well, the title of my chapter is Nobody Wants to Spend Their Golden Years Working for the Golden Arches. I've been a serial entrepreneur for quite a while, had a lot of failures, and the financial system, especially here in the US, is broken. 75% of people here live paycheck to paycheck. Over half people in the country do not have $1,000 for an emergency in savings. And over 50% of people over 50 don't have $10,000 saved for retirement. And so from a very early age, just through influences in my life, people that I've watched around me, I knew that I didn't want to work until I died. And so I always had the idea that, to be an entrepreneur would be a way to get around that. And then that expanded into seeing the problems with everybody else, and that it wasn't just for me, it was most people. And so I want to coach and help people to start and grow their businesses. And it's funny, a couple of things happened since getting involved with this book project. Got involved with somebody teaching me about high yield dividends. And it was really interesting just studying some of the things that this particular mentor told me. And for all those years I was trying to, what my most successful entrepreneurship journey was selling on Amazon and eBay, sold 6 figures multiple times. But it's funny, I never got to the place where I could actually leave FedEx. And then working with this guy with investing in dividends, doing some math, was like, you know what, just starting out with a little bit of money, or if you put $1,000 a month away into high yield dividends, in about 5 or 6 years, most people would have enough money to replace their job. And I found that completely ironic, because here I was trying to start a business that would replace a job. And I know a lot of people have that attitude. Oh, I want to start a business and replace my job. It was a mindset shift that you don't actually have to do that. What if you just start a business that makes an extra $1,000 a month and you get out of debt faster? What if you start a business that just makes an extra $1,000 a month and you save for retirement faster? What if you're already retired and you make an extra $1,000 a month so that you can tell that 18-year-old manager of yours at McDonald's to go, take a long walk on a short plank? You, you don't, you don't have to go out and create a six-figure income on a side hustle. The average person with a little bit of coaching could make $1,000, $2,000 a month and solve their problems. I had a network marketing coach one time, and he used to say his prospecting question was, would an extra $500 a month give you some breathing room? I think that's kind of expanded now, maybe 1,000. I like 1,000 is a nice round number. So that's what I've been doing, is I've learned to take that extra money from entrepreneurship and move it into, say, dividend investing. And so again, when people listen to my podcast, that's why it's From Debt to Wealth to Impact. Let's start a side hustle. Let's get you out of debt. Let's put more money towards retirement, and let's keep you from working for McDonald's or Walmart or somebody when you're 70 and you want to be with your grandkids and you want to go on that cruise.
Man, oh man, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about today. Yes, indeed. It's like bricks building a giant golden castle here. It's like one gold brick after another gold brick. I'm telling you. That's right, folks. That's right, indeed. And it's only panel number 3 or 4. I'm losing count. I'm doing so many of these. And it's just all these goals. So y'all better check out the stuff in the show notes with these folks' wonderful websites, because they got some great stuff to offer. Well, with this wonderful title, Fearless Entrepreneurs, it's great to be fearless, but there's times where you're going to have setbacks and these metaphorical dips where it's like, oh crap, it kind of goes back to what Kym said earlier. It was like, hey, the entrepreneurship journey is not linear. So what happens, any advice for those right now who may be doing the side hustle route, or maybe full-time entrepreneurs, and they're dealing with the squiggly lines in their journey to their success?
I would say make the decision. I often talk about, once you make a decision, the path starts opening up for you. And there are times where we get stuck, or we feel stuck, or we do feel that fear, like, moving through fear with courage. Sometimes we bump up against that because we're taking on something new, or we're expanding our entrepreneur journey, maybe a new offering, or maybe just shifting it a little bit. But I think if you can get to the decision place and you can get started, then from that experience, you can figure out if this is going to work, if it, how is it going to show itself in a positive way. And a lot of times as entrepreneurs, what I see with my clients is they've been stuck for a while, and they circle around in that stuck and they can't get out from under it. So what is that shift that you need to do something a little bit different, or to even think a little bit different, so that you can get started and gain that momentum again?
And I would say it's not from a self-serving position. It's truly from a serving position to hire a coach. We all have blind spots. And so you get stuck, you may have a blind spot and it's usually in your thinking, but you will have a blind spot that you don't know about, that someone else will recognize. I've had this happen with coaches that I've hired, that we'll be sitting around and talking for 15 minutes, and they will point out my choice of words is very revealing about how I think about a certain thing. And, it's like, oh yeah, I'm optimistic, I'm growth minded, I've got all of these things. And then your coach can sit back and say, I heard you say this, 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 and this. This is something we might want to work on. And so, like Kym talked about getting unstuck and making that decision, a coach can help. They can help you clarify your thinking. They can help you see now I like to say, if there's something if you have something that you're not getting done, if you don't know how to do it, that's a skill set problem. If you won't do it, that's a mindset problem. And a coach can help you find those things and can just help you keep you going on to that next level. So I think that's where I think the biggest failure is with business failures, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, is they just either don't know or don't understand that by investing X amount of dollars a month, they can 10X that in their ROI in their business.
I think for me, I would say that a lot of people say this, but it's to know your why. Why did you start your journey at the first place? Because along the way, you kind of forget, because every day brings in new challenges and you just forget, right? So that's one thing that I write on the wall. I do have a poster that says why I started, or on your phone where you look at it every day, right? So you need to constantly remind yourself, because, when I was a single mom and I had my office, I had to have my son at the office while I worked with my students. And I would, on my drive back, I would tell my son, one day we will have dinner at dinner time. We wouldn't be, eating at the office. You will go to bed on time. These kind of things I would tell him. And then later, when you get to that place, now that I'm working online, we have a beautiful life. It all changed. And then when it does change, we have to take those moments to know and appreciate and be grateful that we got here. Sometimes we forget, because entrepreneurship is never over. When you get to another location, there's more waiting and more waiting, right? It's never over. There's no finish line. And if you do finish, it's not that exciting anyway. So it's always going to be revolving. And as every point, check in with yourself and say, look, I've done this, and congratulate yourself. Take that moment to be appreciative for the people who helped you, as well as yourself. Like, you got to you have to, I guess, pat yourself and say you're doing a good job. If you forget that, that's when you're going to start burning out majorly, right? So we have to take that time. And that would be my advice. Know your why every day. Write it on the wall, write it in your phone, read it every day.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about right there, indeed. That's right. Got to know that why. That's right, indeed. That's right. Got to have the mindset of that good old Ric Flair. Be like, I never retire. There's no finish line to entrepreneurship, y'all. That's right. There's no true finish line. That's right. There's only one way that'll be the finish line, and it involves a box, and I'll leave it at that. So, my goodness, so with all these wonderful businesses that you have and helping all these folks, especially with blind spot spotting, and of course, helping folks realize that, hey, you got to go back to your why and all that wonderful good stuff. Is there a particular habit among all of your daily habits that stick out the most, that helps you the most with your business, or heck, even with your life?
For me, back when I was starting out with eBay, I was mentored by a man who I say he has the Midas touch. He absolutely does. This man could make 6 and 7 figures doing absolutely anything, and does. He even goes so far that he does fantasy sports and makes a 6-figure income doing like fantasy hockey, which is like the most obscure thing to do, fantasy sports. But this guy, he was a mentor of mine. And one night he held a webinar and he said, I can teach you all how to make money. And he had. But most of you are going to screw it up, because what's up here? And we were introduced to the idea of self-talk and a particular person who taught self-talk. And so that was my actual first coaching training, was from the author of the book, What to Say When You Talk to Yourself. And he has very scientifically designed self-talk to help reprogram your brain for success. So you ask what habit helps me in my entrepreneurship journey? That's it. I listen to those self-talk audios every day, whether it's about money, whether it's about self-esteem, whether it's about sales, whether it's about whatever. My daily habit is to listen to those self-talk audios and reprogram my brain to think differently than the very lower middle class kid that I was raised to be.
For me, I would say continuously build your connected community through networking, through follow up, because as an entrepreneur, or even business owner, you can't get to the next place with the same connections that you have today. So continuously build those connections and be curious about who are you, what are you doing, how can I help you. Be curious about that other person as you're building your connected community, because they become your referral source, and they could be your next biggest client and then a referral. So I'm really big on building a connected community for that very reason.
For me, in terms of daily habits, one of the things is I do journaling, which is really important for me to stay with my true to my why, because I do have an inner chatter box that just, talks on its own and says really different things than what I want to do. So in order to, align myself with that person, my unconscious, I need to write it down. So every day we're on the same page. So that's really important. I think, I'm an NLP practitioner, and as therefore that unconscious mind is why, when I tried to commit suicide, that mind, right? It wasn't me. It was my internal voice that was telling me that all of these things were happening. We tell stories to ourselves and we make them believe it, and that become our life eventually. So in order to avoid that, from a young age, I started writing. So I do a lot of journaling, and you don't even have to do a lot. 10 minutes a day is really, it's very purposeful and intentional. And the other thing is to have a phrase or a mantra or something that you could tell yourself to be your own cheerleader. I needed that for myself on a daily basis, so that I don't listen to my, the other voice that's telling me something different, right? And we keep our story at one in a union, right? So that's something I practice as well. So that will help you as an entrepreneur, because every day there's a new challenge and you have to face it. That's the reality.
Yeah, that's right. Rock solid indeed. That's right. Boulder solid, if I could even make it bigger than a regular rock. This ain't no ordinary rock here. It's extra heavy. That means it's extra good. That's right. That means it really rocks indeed. Because, yeah, self-talk is definitely powerful indeed. And love the fact that David mentions that you saturate your brain with all that good self-talk audio stuff indeed. Because, yeah, self-talk is very, very interesting. We talk to ourselves then, probably worse than anybody else on the earth if we're not careful. And we got to get rid of that indeed. And definitely got to stay connected. Especially got to have a nice cultivated community like Kym has mentioned before. I was just drawn to that cover. So out of curiosity, Kym, you got the red dress, and I see with Unshakable Courage, you got that red circle in the middle of courage. So is that supposed to be, is that like a real deep meaning to me? Like, okay, I keep a cultivated community while having wine glasses, and that's just the top of some red wine coming onto the circle. Like, is that special meaning behind the red dot in the Unshakable Courage cover?
It's an exclamation, so it's an exclamation mark that says, like, pay attention. Whatever this fear is that you're facing or that you think you're facing, if you can peel the onion back and get to the root of it, then you can move through that feeling of fear with courage.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about indeed. That's right. Boulder solid, full of gems, y'all. I'm telling you, they bringing the gems tonight, y'all. I'm telling you, they brought the whole jewelry store tonight, folks. I'm telling you, y'all better be taking all sorts of notes. You can even call them love notes if you want, because you gotta love this content right here indeed. That's right. So we're coming down to the magical question that every guest gets to receive, and these answers might be interesting. So if you're to wake up tomorrow and you're 25 again, but this time in the current year of 2021 with all of your knowledge and experience, what advice would you give to yourself?
I would definitely tell myself at 25 to invest. It's funny, it was something that I was looking at. Even I remember I was 25, I was just thinking about this recently and looking at some investments and different things like that. But like everybody else, we were living paycheck to paycheck, even in the military. And you're living paycheck to paycheck, and you got a kid and you think, oh, I can't really afford to. And what I know now, that just making any kind of side income and then pouring that into investments, and especially like, again, dividends, because companies raise their dividend. So your dividend may be very small at age 25, but look at Warren Buffett. That's literally what he's done. The man makes something like $2 or $3 million a year just from Coca-Cola dividends. And I mean, you know how much he's worth, but like just the Coca-Cola dividends, he makes millions of dollars a year. And so I would definitely be telling my younger self, hey, invest in dividend companies, work a side hustle, even if you can only put $500 a month into it, and you will be retired well before you're 50.
I would say at the age of 25, kind of let go of other people's opinions for you and your life, and live that life and that passion that's driving you and that's calling you, and to seek out mentors that are where you want to be and learn from them. What are they doing? And how can you replicate that toward your passion?
I think for me is I would ask my 25-year-old self, why didn't you sell all those stories you created? They were so creative, to the Hollywood or somewhere to produce it as a movie. Why did you keep them all and screw yourself? You know, you should have been smarter. Yeah, so I would tell her, it's all in your own mind, right? You create them and they're very creative, and you could make it as, you know, however you want it. Then that's why it hurts you, right? So yeah, that's what I would tell her. If you're going to create one, sell it and make it a movie.
There we go, indeed. Let's write some movies, y'all. That's right, the Hollywood, the Disney's, all of them. That's right. That's right, indeed. Sell it, indeed. And invest the money in dividends. That's right. And make sure you have a well-cultivated group of wonderful human beings. That's right. And make sure Kym's in there, too, so that way she can grow, too. Like a giant positive tree, giving positive shade to people in the summertime. That's right. That's right, indeed. That's right, indeed. Well, for those who want to keep in contact with each and every single one of you lovely human beings, what's the best way for folks to do so?
I'm KymGlass.com, and I spell my name with a Y instead of an I. So it's KY as in yellow, M, glass as a drinking glass.com. I'm out there on LinkedIn, Facebook, and would love to connect with you and learn more about you and your business.
My website is davidsmithspeaks.com. That's where my podcast is primarily found. My calendar is there. And if you hurry up and listen to this show, you might get a free 45-minute call instead of a 15-minute call, because it's still up there and I haven't taken it down. But davidsmithspeaks.com is my podcast and my calendar. And contact me. All of that stuff is davidsmithspeaks.com.
For me, it's if you're a parent and you have a struggling student, you can contact me at mathcodes, that's CODES, mathcodes.com. And if you're a teacher or tutor and would like to get certified by Mathcodes methodology, you can contact mathcodes.com/coaching. Thank you.
Woo! That's what I'm talking about, indeed. There we go. Some fearless entrepreneurs, baby. That's right. We even got one of them that'll help your kid with the math problems, y'all. I'm telling you. That's right. The math codes, indeed. Especially that Common Core, as some call Common Crap. I'm assuming Common Core is in your wheelhouse, isn't it?
Yeah. We have Math Makes Sense here in Canada. We have Math Makes Sense. And we call it math, it doesn't make sense. Basically, it's Common Core. I mean, it's the cousin of, math, Common Core.
So Common Core with a longer name. Oh, joy. All right. Why does that form of math have a cousin? It should not have family. It must be endangered. Oh man, but this ain't about endangered forms of doing things. It's about folks who are fearless and flying high, metaphorically speaking, into the great skies of entrepreneurship and beyond. So, any parting words for the folks who are listening before we close up shop?
I'd just like to remind people that thoughts are things. I mean, we have a best-selling book because it started with thoughts. And where you are in your life, whether it's money, job, retirement, wherever you are, it's based on your thought life. And your thoughts can be changed, especially with the help of a coach. So, you change your thoughts, you change your life.
For me, I would like to leave everyone to think that everything is solvable. And only way you can solve something is because you haven't spent the time looking for that solution. So spend time. That's what I educate my students as well, to spend time with the question and you will find an answer. So everything is solvable.
I would say to face the reality of your fear, to get to the root of it so that you can release it and so that you can live with power, because I'm on a mission to help people break free from fear, to live in unshakable courage, and to be a fearless entrepreneur.
How's it going, you super special, awesome human? Since you made it to the end of this episode, it looks like you really enjoyed yourself. Since you enjoyed this episode, be sure to share with at least 3 people in your network and tell them what you really liked about this episode. Heck, even shoot myself or the guest an email and let them know what you liked most about this interview, so that way they can stay inspired to keep pushing out great work.